So I'm going through some posts today and I was trying to figure out what would be a good recommendation, other than my standard recommendation, for a page builder for clients today. And, well, even as a guy who generally works in WordPress, I found out today that there's a lot more page builders for WordPress than I thought there were. So in today's Morning for Visionaries, we're going over many, not all, of the page builders out there, visual editors, whatever you want to call them, for WordPress. We're keeping away from offsite tools such as Squarespace, so that's for another video. But today it's just all about WordPress and visual editors in WordPress. First thing I'll say is, well, I don't know what to say first. First, really have to figure out what we're kind of looking for and where we kind of want to go with these things, because like I said, there are a lot of these things going around. So first and foremost, I'll let you know the ones I am kind of interested in. I rather, I really like in general the one called Elementor. Elementor is generally pretty darn stable. You do need a few extra resources online for it, but it does work really well. So Elementor is pretty good. Then there's Divi. It was great. Now I'm finding it too bloated, I guess is the word. Flatsome is is another tool, though it's really tied to the Flatsome theme, so it's weird. So there are many. So let's start here. What is the absolute single best WordPress page builder and visual editor tool, content tool thingy? There is no true and tried best one. A lot of people have probably seen Visual Composer, WP Bakery's Visual Composer. Please don't use that one. It's buggy-ish. It's overly complicated. It's bloated. It's weird. Try to stay away from that one. Though, if you're stuck with it, it's not the end of the world. What I would recommend is moving to Elementor. Elementor is my current recommended one. It works well. It's reasonably lean. It's not the cleanest code that you'll find out there in the world, but it is simple-ish. It works. It's got a lot of good options, huge community support, and very active, very good open source development. You can read along with everything they're doing. It is an overall phenomenal tool. So generally, I recommend Elementor and things around Elementor. Now, let's say you don't want to use Elementor. That's fine. Another great one is Thrive Themes, Thrive Builder. Now, people sort of complain about Thrive Themes' stuff, not to be confused with other things called Thrive, but Thrive Themes' Thrive Builder is pretty darn good. It is solely focused on getting you landing pages, sales pages, and conversion-oriented content very quickly. That is the core of their company. My complaint with them is not that their tools don't work. Their tools work phenomenally well. My complaint is that they're rather closed, well, they're not closed source, but they're not open source either, even though it's on WordPress, so it should be open source. The community is a very strong community, but it's not a large community, and there's not really many add-ons, or actually any add-ons really, outside of their core plugin offering. So you're kind of locked into their stuff. But their tools are really well made and very solid, with very few bugs in production ever, unlike many of the other tools. So Thrive Themes is a great way to go if you don't want to go with Elementor. Now, another good one is Beaver Builder. Really, I was about to say high end, but that's not the word I'm looking for. It's really well put together, very well thought out. It has a different user experience than Elementor, so check out Beaver Builder, another great one. Now, to go over some that we have also used and I can recommend. So I pulled up a random list here because, oh my gosh, there are so many. So first, let me start with Divi. The Divi is both a theme and a page builder. It works reasonably well, but we found lately it's gotten buggy, it's gotten bloated, it's gotten slow, and it is sometimes really hard to work with us. Heaven forbid you need to customize something, then their code is a bit overly restrictive and overly complicated in our experience so far. But it does work. If you don't want to touch code ever and you love everything they're doing, go with Divi, that's fine. Just know that it is a little bit bloated and a little bit heavy. Now, other potential tools you could think of and try to use, again, like I said, WP Bakery Page Builder WP Composer, leave it alone. You know it's bad. Get away from that one as far as you can. Divi is all right, and that's Elementor. We talked about that one. Themify is a kind of weird one. It works until it doesn't. Though we found the user experience in Themify a little bit restrictive. It was a bit different and had a higher learning curve, but that's just us. So your miles may vary. But it is one that we've used, and or at least tried to use. We didn't like it, but it is a pretty solid one. Thrive Themes Content Builder, we talked about that one. Like I said, I'm just going through a quick list that I saw. There's another one called WordPress. I haven't heard that one, but it is an option. Seems reasonably sleek, and I do apologize for my nose. This winter has been not so kind to my health. Oh, Page Builder by Site Origin. This one reminds me a lot of the WP Composer. It's all right. It's not ideal. Oh, there's another one that works reasonably well. I found it a little bit overly complicated. Maybe they updated their styling lately, but it came with the X theme. I don't think it was this one, so I don't know which editor they used specifically, but the one in the X WordPress theme, that one seemed very powerful, but it seemed a little bit closed and a little bit overcomplicated. But when it was working, it worked phenomenally well, and I mean really well. So it's that one. Live Composer, we used that on a few sites. Live Composer was actually pretty good, though my problem with Live Composer was the user experience was far overly complicated. Buttons slide in and out constantly for us. The admin editing page experience. It was just a little bit of a mess. I liked it. Overall, it had decent functionality. It wasn't overly bloated-ish, but the user interface, because of so many animations and things they tried to get in there, it seemed bloated from the editing side of things for us, and we just didn't like it. You might like it. We just personally didn't. There's a few others that listed here that I don't know about. Page Builder Sandwich. I don't know about it, but it looks decent. Conductor, another potential one. Forge. Now, the thing is, before we get further on, because like I said, there's a lot of these things. You will find a lot of these potential options. If your goal is to simply get something out quickly, my recommendations would either be Elementor, that's my number one choice. Elementor, Thrive Themes, Flatsome, or Divi. And generally pick a light theme to work off of those. Breezy is another one. There's a different list. Oh, and Oxygen. Oxygen is a different one. It's relatively new in the editing field. There's mixed reviews about it. Overall, people say good things about Oxygen. The complaints generally seem to talk about its editing speed and some of the lack of functionality, but it is in active development. So Oxygen Builder is something to look out for if you don't want if you don't want Elementor or Thrive Themes or Beaver Builder. Oxygen is definitely something to look out for. Themify, I think, is another one I mentioned that is worth looking out for. Breezy, I heard about it. I haven't used it, so I can't really comment on it, but it is growing there in the world a little bit. Like I said, I haven't used it, so I can't say much about it. And let's see if there's any others. I think that really takes care of the major ones. I will say this, though. Visual Composer Builder, the WP-Bakery Builder, they kind of rebranded a few times. It is the most used one. Though, like I said, it is generally rather bloated. They have grown and made improvements, but it is bloated. It is fat. Not PHAT, but fat as in code-wise fat. And it is they have a lot of add-ons, a lot of add-ons. But there are so far better tools such as Beaver Builder and Elementor that do things a lot better, as we found, than Visual Composer. My other problem with Visual Composer is that it breaks a lot for me. I don't want to say it's buggy, but because it's so bloated, it's been hard to really edit things in it, get them to save, and not crash everything I'm working about. So, like I said, not buggy per se, just bloated and slow. I highly recommend staying away from that one. But yeah, give Elementor a try. That would be my recommendation. Elementor, that includes, by the way, Elementor, Oxygen, or Beaver Builder. Those would be my recommendations. And that includes a regular old WordPress site. That includes WordPress in e-commerce, EDD if you want to use that one, LearnDash if you want to use a lot of these things. A lot of those tools, actually every single one of those tools, handles those situations. You might, for additional functionality, feel free to get plugins. So there's that. Now, the big one that we want to talk about though, and this video on, is Gutenberg. In WordPress comes Gutenberg these days, and I highly recommend you do enable Gutenberg these days. Some people have complained a lot about Gutenberg, saying, "Oh no, it's so evil. You don't want to use Gutenberg." They don't like change. If you don't like change, fine. But Gutenberg these days works rather very well and is reasonably slick. The place to use Gutenberg, I would say, is on post, unless you are making some crazy animated things or going style crazy. Use Gutenberg for posts. For page layouts, which you need some things going in and out and special dividers, use something like Beaver Builder, Elementor, Thrive Theme stuff, whatever, you know. But for regular old content, posts and articles, use Gutenberg. It works very well. It is reasonably well structured. It works pretty fast, and it's got a decent amount of add-ons coming in for it. So it is very viable. Please use Gutenberg. It works well for content. For a lot of other things around the site, if you're not custom coding them, Elementor, Beaver Builder, Thrive Themes, Divi, etc. Try those and play around. And that's it for today's video. If you have any recommendations for other visual composers, visual builders, visual editors, whatever you want to call them, let me know, and I will be soon putting out not a live video like this, but a regular video review of a lot of these things, because I'm also curious on what some of the other ones are doing these days. But yeah, if you have any comments, questions, leave them in the comments, and we'll go from there. See you around, guys. Bye.